Okay, so we're going to cover a couple different sections for this interview. We'll obviously get to know you as the artist because we want to know what makes you you and what makes you stand out from everyone else. But we also want to talk about building a brand, what that takes, your time on American Idol, of
Mm-hmm.
course. And our theme for this year for World College Radio Day is Tune Into the People. So we want to get your thoughts on what that means for you, kind of what radio is, what it does for the industry, those kind of basics. And then we'll leave off with your future, where you see yourself going, things that you would like to do, goals, things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
Alex, if you want to start us out.
Sure, I'll get us started. Um, let's see. Let's just go with a nice, simple, basic one. How would you describe yourself to anyone who's just getting to meet you? And what are you passionate about?
Oh gosh. I really feel like what you see is what you get. And so like I can't really on American Idol it was kind of a good thing but also a bad thing. Like I can't turn on a performer. So it's always going to be Emmy. So I feel like I don't know, I really love authenticity, like just showing up as yourself. Like that probably represents me, my songs the same way. Yeah, kind of just being yourself. I know it kind of sounds kind of cliche. And
No,
I
it's
think
kind of been a
I think that my story too, I think everyone has a story, and I think I'm just honest with my story. And so I think if you're as honest with your story, then that person can't get in the way of your calling because they're honest with their story, and there's no really comparison. So I think for me, it's I try to be. I'm not perfect, but as honest as I can.
that's been a common theme of pretty much every artist that we've talked to is just like be authentic, be you. Don't let don't let other people's opinions like make you change yourself. And that's something that I think is a good message for everyone to know.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to first like create music and then ultimately end up performing on American Idol?
Gosh, well, I was on the road with my grandma from like 2 years old. My grandma's a country singer. Her name's Loretta Lynn. Um, so I kind of just grew up honestly in it. I remember my first memory was singing Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars. And I just remember seeing like a blurry crowd and just the piano player, his name was Gene, or is Gene, he's still here. Um, and so I think it was kind of always written in my veins. And then whenever I was in school, I was kind of a misfit. And so I always liked to kind of write stories and um, yeah, it was just kind of my kind of outlet. And then I stayed later, started writing songs whenever I was like 7. Yeah, 7.
Hmm.
Started learning to play guitar around 7. It's kind of my start. And then I was just raised in it. Like I grew up on the road, singing. I started opening up for my grandma when I was 16. So that was kind of my beginnings.
Um,
Ask any questions about how humble you are as a person just because of how casually you said, "Yeah, my grandma's Loretta Lynn."
Also, don't know who she is. It is older. She's an older, like I don't know. Like, are y'all familiar kind of with who that is? Does everyone
Coal
know who that
miner's
is?
daughter, yeah.
Coal miner's daughter. It's so funny. See, like that's so weird to me. I'm like, I wouldn't have even known what a coal miner is. I mean, I do know what a coal miner is. Well, I mean, anyways. Yeah, I don't know. I really was shocked. I was like, I thought Luke Bryan would know, but Katy Perry was the one that freaked out the most. Because apparently Katy Perry lived in Nashville. She's coming as like a Christian artist, like kind of like that country vein, which most everyone knows. But she was like freaking out the most. And they cut that out, of course. But I don't know. And Lionel Richie, he's just always acting like the grandfather, just like, oh, I love your family. So that's funny. That's funny. Well, I'm glad y'all know her.
In the discussion of like the creation of music or the creation of songs, what is your songwriting process? Like, how do lyrics and melodies come to you in order to create a sample of like a music?
Well, it normally starts with a concept for me. Um, you can write the lyric first, you can write the melody first, you can write the concept first. But for me normally, it's like, what kind of message do I want to say? If I'm feeling like, I wrote a song called Skinny, and it was about eating disorders, which I didn't want to write that song, but Dennis brought that, which was one of the writers, the co-writers on this song, and he didn't know I was eating disorder recovery. And he was like, "Hey, I feel like you're supposed to write this song called Skinny." And I said, "No one knew." And so sometimes things like that can intervene. But for me, it normally is I'm feeling something. I'm feeling jealous, or I'm feeling insecure, or I'm feeling joyful. Those can be a little bit harder to write just because tapping into like my love for my daughter, like love is so hard to write because you just I don't know, it's hard to put words to, like, such a such a big feeling. It's kinda easier to write about these kind of other feelings, but, yeah, I feel like that one's the toughest for me to write, but I feel a feeling and I write it. It's always been like that, so I just write a sentence or my friend feels a feeling and I write about her life. I have a sister-in-law and I'm, like, writing basically her life right now 'cause I don't have any drama going in my life, so I'm like, "Okay, let's watch some movies or let's read some books or, like, what's going on in y'all's world?" So, yeah, I'm pretty happy in my world, so gotta find a little drama to write about.
How do you balance out your songwriting with like your everyday life?
Well, right now it's when baby's down for a nap or if she's right here. It's kind of I don't know, creativity is a funny thing. Like if I'm going to the grocery store driving and a just song comes on me, I'm just like, I pull out my handy dandy phone and just like record it, write down the lyric. Yeah, I'm figuring that out right now actually because I'm transitioning. I'm going to be releasing my EP coming up soon, and I'm honestly just now starting to figure that out. And so I'm learning balance, but I've been writing so much. But baby's down for a nap or something like that, finding those little pockets of time. I was a published songwriter, so I used to write for a company. Her name's Liz Rose. She wrote like "You Belong with Me," "All Too Well," all those big songs. So me and her are still really close friends. I just needed some time to pause and kind of figure out, uh, the mom life. So I write with her, but I just sit baby down on the ground. She kind of is just a part of me right now.
That sort of paves the way for your own sort of, in a way, it can tie back to your own like sort of unique brand or unique sort of approach to music or like mod or like sort of modern songwriting. So in that regard, so how has your brand sort of developed throughout the years, or like how did it start and how is it going?
So whenever I think of the word brand, I think of like, who was I in that time? Um, for me, it started off, I think, just being like a girl. I went to a little public school and just wrote songs, and I would just sit in my room and I just play my guitar and just write songs, and I wore big T-shirts, and and like I don't know, like just kind of awkward, and then talent shows, and I had 2 one best friend that didn't hang out with me in school, like, so I guess the awkward kinda girl in school, and then, high school, I started going on tour with my grandma, like, fully as the opener, and so I guess Loretta Lynn's granddaughter was my brand then, and then I went on American Idol, or then I started transitioning to writing, and then I was like singer-songwriter. No, I'm not gonna tell anyone about my grandma. And that was something that I was just like, I'm not gonna tell anyone. Prior to me signing my publishing deal, I actually went on mission and I thought that I was gonna quit music forever. I went to this place called YWAM, which is kind of like a college in a way. Um, but I was just going through such a hard time with identity and like who am I? And I guess, your brand in general. Like I was like, I don't even want to freaking do this anymore. I'm done. And I had to kind of find who I was and outside of the weight of kind of what I was carrying and just the pressure and the eating disorder, just find something. And then I lived in Brazil for a period of time. And so, then I would have just been like a little missionary girl, non-denomination, and then transitioned into songwriter. No one's gonna know my grandma. Then, American Idol and then going on there and they asked me my history and I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna be as honest as I can. If you're gonna ask me about my history, then I guess I'll tell you." But they found me from Songhouse from Skinny. American Idol did. They didn't know who my grandma was. And I said, "Oh, so y'all must have found out from, you know, that my grandma is Loretta Lynn." And they were like, "Oh no, we had no clue. We just wanted you to be here today." And I was like, "Oh, but that'd be interesting if you said that. Are you gonna say that?" And I was like, "I mean, I guess if it comes up." So I guess, now it's like America. It's I don't know. I think it's just more like I showed up with no makeup on, and I showed up with like a full glam makeup, and I love spray tan, and I just kind of felt like this voice be like, "Do not wear the spray tan or the makeup," and I was kind of like, I'm so mad. And I went on there and I played an original song, and I really think, like, God's always gonna find his way to, like, get the actual like, whatever's supposed to happen is going to happen. And so they were like, "Can you play us another song?" And I was like, "Sure." Probably talking a little scattered, sorry. And I played them one original song, and then they said, "How did they find you?" And I said, "Well, they found me through my song called Skinny." And they said, "Can you play that one?" And I played it, and then that was kind of the moment they were like, "Oh, this is something." So, yeah, So I think authenticity, I don't know, I think my brain I was like a shell of like I think of a human for so long, and I've just really performed like just for I don't know, some sort of approval thing I had, mask, and then I've learned that the real brand and the real artist is the taking off of the mask, but that's hard to let it, and so I fight it every now and then, but those songs, there's songs that can come out of that.
So you talked about how you American Idol had found you. So did you end up having to audition for that, or was it just like they said, "Hey, we want you. Can we hear some more?" And can you
They
talk a
reach
little
out
bit about that process?
Yeah, so they just cast you. There's a bunch of casting agents, a lot of people from Songhouse they find, and they're like, they reach out to basically everyone from Songhouse. And I ignored it. I thought she was spam. And then she reached out to me 2 years later and was like, hey, you want to try out for American Idol? So yeah, they try and find people for the show. And then you sing in front of like a Zoom, kind of like this. And then they're like, hey, you're in. You want to perform in front of the real judges? Can we all say it at one time? And then I'm like, you're in. And yeah, so that's how they went about it. And then I performed in front of the real judges. And Lord, I can't even tell you, like, I was so nervous. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do this. And I had so much anxiety. And I played for one of the casting people, and they cried. And I was like, well, if I moved him, maybe I can move them. And I swear to this day, if it wasn't for that guy, I would have I would have not done it. And his name's Justin, and I just adore him. I always tell him, I said, you're the reason I'm here. No one knew who I was, and no one cared, and you listened to me, and you sat down with me, and I adore him. So he's a big reason on why I'm even probably even hearing people y'all even know who, I am, or not that y'all knew. Songhouse probably told you, but, like, I don't know, just that kinda thing. He's a big reason.
It's because going on American Idol, that's one of the biggest shows in the discussion of music. So, how would you say that your experience with American Idol impacted you? Like what sort of takeaway did it leave?
I think, like, going on there my most honest performances, I keep on going back to honesty. It's like my most honest performances, I had 3 honest performances. It was my audition, and then I redid Skinny later on, and then I did Coal Miner's Daughter, which I was so mad that they chose 3 songs. The only one I knew was Coal Miner's Daughter, and I was like, "Y'all are trying to do something here." And I was like, "Well, I guess I'll do that one." And then, like, all it came to me was like, "I'm gonna do this like a hymn." And then I just started feeling Hunger Games, District 12, and then I learned just, District 12 is like was supposed to be Kentucky, West Virginia areas, like something in that. It's like coal mine. And I was like, I heard correctly. And so I was like, yeah. So I think tell me your question one more time. My brain just goes five because I want to round it back to you, Tanner. I
That's
had a
com-
point.
it, it's completely fine. It's just like how would you say that your experience on American Idol like impacted you, or what was some type of takeaway it left?
Just telling you like trust, trust that this is going to lead you. I don't know, like just for me, it was just like, for me that's God. And I just felt like that was just my big piece was just like trusting.
You talked about a little bit at the top of this that you never really ended up going to college and having much of a college experience. But have you had any experiences with college radio through listening or sending some music and I don't know, just any experience with college
No,
radio?
I've literally had no experience. I wish. I wish that my campus at the mission place had some college, but, like, I had some college. See, like, that's that's how much I know. But, like, I've always wanted a college experience. And so, like, the fact that there's radio stations in college makes that so cool to me. Because music, I mean, matters so much. Radio matters so much. It's like it's all about community. And so, like, I don't know, and I feel like I don't know if this is true, but I mean, do y'all play a lot of local music or people that before they're really like doing anything and they like pitch in their music and they do it? Like that's such a big deal to me. Like I wonder if I love Megan Maroney. I opened for her a couple times. I wonder if she even did something like that, like because I know, whenever I opened it for her, all I saw was like college and teenagers. And I was like, okay, I wonder if she did something like this, has done college radio. That was the first person that popped inside my head. I just think it's a big, I don't know, huge community thing. I think it's awesome. And I think you find these people from the beginning. You're like, "Oh my gosh, I knew who that was before they were big." And so it's kinda cool to follow, I think, the people and yeah.
We had something cool like that happen at our station. We ended up picking up Chapel Roan before she blew
Oh.
up. And so that was kind of like that was really cool for our station. Um, and yeah, I guess
Like, it's
what?
like she's like a freaking pop star.
Oh yeah.
She's one of my favorite singers of all time. She's insane.
Well, and it was also funny. Back when we were 2004, before Maroon 5 picked up, they ended up signing a contract and performed at BW before they picked up. After they signed the contract, they blew up, and then we ended up still having them here. But we were also still playing them on the radio here.
That's so cool.
We
Wow. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I
had
just followed y'all on Instagram, and I was like, "Holy crap, like, people know about like, this is, like, a big deal. Like, this is a big deal." So, yeah, that's freaking cool.
we had Tyler Childers, and then one of our cool stories is actually someone who worked at our station. Do you know who Billy Crystal is? Famous comedian.
I think I literally do know exactly who that is.
He worked at our radio station.
That's hilarious. That's wild.
Yes, but you're exactly right. You know, college radio, it's very much the same feeling that you try to portray with your music, that connection, that authenticity. And we've really loved that that's been a common theme for every artist that we've interviewed this year, because that is what college radio is. Not just for us that have been involved with it, but that's what it should be for everyone who comes across it. The artists that we are trying to showcase, that we are trying to share with the world, that these are the voices you need to be listening to. They're not trying to talk for you, they're trying to speak with you. And that's why we created the theme for this year, and to
I love
tune
that.
in to the
With
people.
you. I love that. Speak with you. Are you a writer?
I am a writer, yes.
Okay, yeah, I can tell.
And so that actually leads us into a little bit more about our theme for this year, which is tune into the people. The board as a whole, including a couple of the students who couldn't be with us tonight, had some questions to ask you about your feelings for our theme.
I think whenever I hear that phrase tune into the people, I think it's exactly like what you just said, like speak with you. And so I think like you're the only person that really knows. Like if you're the tune into the people, what I think is like you're the only people you really know. Like at the end, like know your inner thoughts, you know. And so I think the more that you tune in here, it's like it's going to tune into the people. I don't know. Like that's whenever I think of that phrase, tune into the people. I think it's very community sounding. I think I don't know. I really like what you said. Yeah, like I'm like that one. What you just said, speak with you and not trying to be like above, you know, and I love that. I love that. Can you kind of tell me about it? Like what for the theme, like what is like the heart of that? Is that kind of what it is?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You know, in a world that there are 1,001 things going on and you have emotions coming left and right 24 hours a day, we kind of forget to listen to other people other than our inner thoughts.
Yeah.
And it's to remind people that regardless of what your views and opinions are, we all have one thing in common, and that's our conversation. And that's how we can come together and we can share these thoughts, we can share these ideas. And that's what really moves society. And that's what college radio is trying to provide, is the space to do that. It's not any one group of people, it's not any one way of thinking. It's just space to have that conversation.
No, I love that. I love that. I love that. We need that more than ever, to be honest.
Tanner, Alex.
I guess sort of going off of that point, it's sort of a very similar discussion of like the importance of tuning into the people, whether it be through shows or supporting local artists. In general, how would you say college radio, how do you think it stands out in today's media landscape?
I think it's cool because it feels like it's very like Gen Z, like young, like the youth, you know, and so I feel like that's the piece there, you know. Like I don't know if some people that are in that age category are getting like listening to the people necessarily on the WSM or like the like just those kinds of things. I think that's what kind of makes I don't know to me college radio unique. By hearing about it is like you're it's the youth. But I mean, I'm sure people go to college and they're older, but specifically, most generally speaking, I feel like that's kind of the cool thing about it.
So let's take a look towards the future, I guess we could say. And how do you see your music reaching a further audience, expanding your audience in the next couple of years?
Well, I think I definitely need to start posting on socials more. That's kind of the main place that people are, kind of going to. Um, and even though like I've kind of written it off, like, oh, that's, not real, or oh, that's not authentic enough, or like my Enneagram 4 in me, it's just like, I want to be different. Um, I think I'm doing my EP, and so I think that that's by, like, just stepping out and being like, "Okay, I'm not just a mom anymore, like, I do have something to bring to the world." And so I think, honestly, just stepping out as little like, just on just freaking socials and just getting as creative, like, what is an idea that I come up with in my brain that is, real to me, authentic, it can be funny, whatever, like, what's something that I can come up with? I really wanna do, like, before I release my EP, like, a little like, a house listening party of for, like, maybe 35 people, and, like, capping it and doing it for, like, people that have followed me and just wanna come and handpick those people. I think community now more than ever, um, people are gonna get tired of being on their phone, but it's like, okay, but how can you use that in order to have people, actual real live experience. So, I think I'm really wanting to lean into live experience, but then kind of use socials as like a way of, I guess, milking for the live experience. So, um, yeah, yeah.
Do you want your social media marketing to be more just behind the scenes? You know, like you were talking about what it means to balance your life, to be a mom and a songwriter, that you have more to bring to the table and to show that live experience, the importance of that connection with people. Is that the kind of marketing pathway you're trying to go for?
Oh, for like showing that I'm a mom. Yeah, see, that's where I'm, like, struggling. I'm like, "Where do I," and I think it's good for people to hear that. It's like, "Hey, it's okay to, like, walk through that," I mean, I walk through that, and it's just kind of like, "Well, people wanna watch me anymore now that I'm a mom?" Are people even interested in hearing me anymore? And so that I'm walking through that right now, and I'm like, "Well, I have so many songs, and I feel like that's what I'm just created to do." And I'm like, "Okay, well, then how are we gonna go about this? Am I gonna hold the baby while I'm, writing a song or singing the song?" I don't wanna make it like I'm faking it, like I'm using my baby in order to get views. Um, but if there's something meaningful there, then, maybe it is like, something like that. I don't know. I really want to get some brains like around me and being like, so, speak against this lie that I have of, how am I going to walk this out? Do I hold the child because it's authentic to me? But then again, like, you don't want to be using your child. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. So I think I'm walking through that right now of how am I going to do socials. Normally, if I'm just like, hey, y'all, it's Emmy, and I'm just kind of speaking something that's been on my heart, it normally connects. So I'm scared of doing that because I'm like, what if one day I'm not really feeling it? I'm not feeling connected, like, but I can't just stay you can't steer a parked car. So I'm just kinda like, "Let's just move, no matter what, let's just keep on going." Because I mean, I had to do all the small things and all those little songs on, American Idol in order to have those moments, those special moments. I had to walk through my publishing deal in order to know that maybe this is what I kinda wanna do. I wanna do more independent, and I don't really wanna be on a deal. And so I think that there's these moments that really matter for those mountains. So, yeah. To answer your question, I'm in the middle of figuring that out.
If you had to name one specific moment throughout your entire journey so far, what was, and just name it as your greatest aspect, what would you say that is? And then where do you hope that you can take that aspect from here?
This is so ironic. Probably whenever my grandma had her stroke, and the tour stopped, and I had to figure out, is music what I wanna do? And I said no to it for a season, and I think, like, taking risks and being like, "I don't feel happy in this anymore. I need to take that risk." So and I came back to it.
If you had a vinyl released,
Mhm.
what would you want that vinyl to look like? What do you want it to portray, the kind of emotions you want people to feel when they listen to your music?
Honestly, this is so funny. I just see, like, flowers, like, I just see flowers. I think, there's just seasons. I think that's just something, like, it's like their feelings are seasons, and I think I just see, like, a little bunch of little flowers. That's the first thing that popped inside my head was, like, little wildflowers. Yeah, to represent seasons. That's good. That keeps me on my toes. I'm like, writer, are you impressed because you're a writer?
I do love that. That's very creative. I could also see instead of having it sectioned out, you really love the wildflowers. You could actually have them press real flowers through the beginning stages and through death into your vinyl. So that'd be fun.
You can do that?
They can do all kinds of fun things with vinyl now. They can even put fluid inside vinyl.
Holy cow. Let's have some conversations.
Tanner, Alex, I'll let you take it over.
Sort of going off the subject again, off of music, whether it be upcoming, there's a lot of upcoming music, especially with the new EP, but you just recently released a new single called Ordinary in a collaboration with Tyler Ward. So what could you tell us about this song and like how it came to be and like where you see it going in the future?
So this is where Tyler's brain is all about. He's very logical. And so he's like, he did YouTube back in the day. He's actually did the college. He was so familiar with college radio. He's my husband. So it makes it a super easy for us to do. He actually was one of the first like pioneer like YouTube covers, like Boyce Avenue, Tyler Ward. And so yeah, he just like saw the song and it was like, this is one of the biggest streaming songs. Like logically, we need money. Let's like put this out. And so we did a video at Songhouse and he was holding the child and I had like a messy bun up in my hair and I looked rough, but I was like, you know what? Got to get out there and do music. And it connected. It got like I don't know, up in the 300,000 views in the on the Songhouse, on the Songhouse, on the Songhouse. And so like, I don't know, I don't really know how the streams are doing, but we had fun. We had fun on that one. That one was really fun. Makes it easy whenever, yeah, you're with someone that sings. Very logical. That one was very logical. I married someone that's very the opposite of me. So like I'm all like, heart, let's do true. And he's like, okay, but you also gotta move too. Like, you know, like you can't just like stay there. You gotta do something. And so that's what I love about him.
Is there any advice you'd give to up and coming musicians that are listening that aspire to be like you?
I would say write what you feel. Like, you know, if it's like kind of like daily, like a little sentence or something. Like it's like just whenever you feel a feeling, don't just like stuff it down. Don't vent to your mom. Like, you know, write that feeling down and don't just write it down, but like you try and find a way to put it into the world. You know, if it I just know that I mean, I'm 26 years old and no one knew who I was until I was 24, 25. And I actually got in front of the camera and I said, hey there, my name's Emmy Russell. And I felt freaking awkward and weird, but I did it. And I think whenever you show up and you do something and, you know, there's people that knock on your door, say yes. Like just, you, like always come back to this. You can't steer a parked car. So I live my life very much a parked car. And I've learned only the last few years, hey, you know, don't hide. You can't steer a parked car.
I really love that idea. You know, it also is very encouraging. It's the same thing that I talk to my students. You know, you and I are about the same age. I'm 27. And
Okay.
it took me a little bit to figure out who I was and get to where I was going. So I have that conversation with my students almost every day. And I say something very similar to you can't steer a parked car. You
What do
know,
you say?
I say if you're stagnant, there's no room for growth. And if you're not growing, you're not going anywhere. And I'll probably start using yours. I really like that. You can't steer a parked car.
Or someone else, so you can go ahead. Wait, what do you teach? What's your what do you teach?
Communication studies.
Communication
Yeah.
studies. Okay, I think Tyler actually got a degree or some whatever it's called. I think it's called a degree. He literally has one of those in communication.
I also got a degree in communications and I had a degree in broadcast journalism as well.
Nice. That's literally him. That's him too. Cool.
But it's those messages, writing it down, taking the moment to feel it and work through it. That's so important.
It'll pass, and if you don't write it down, you're gonna miss a song. And I mean, you know, Lord have mercy, send it back to you. But like normally, it's going to go away. I'm like, feel it, write it down. Feel it, write it down. You can feel it in your dream, write it down. I had such a good song in my dream like 2 days ago, and I literally thought, record your voice memo, and I was just like ignored it when it went away, and I was like, gosh, that was such a freaking good song. That's like the first time that's ever happened to me. I've heard Paul McCartney talk about it, and I was like, what about me? Like, can I have a song in my dream that I wrote? And it was so freaking good. Yeah, I can't remember it.
Because we work with college students, those are important messages that they need to hear from an artist, from a professor, whoever it may be. It's not just creating your brand and sharing your voice with the world. It's the thoughts behind it to make you human and make you better at being a good human. And a lot of that's simply taking time for yourself and taking the time to process those thoughts before you share it with the world. So I think that's an incredibly important point to share with our students.
On this incredible journey that you've gone on in the music world, what would you say has been the most rewarding aspect of your journey so far? And where do you hope it takes you next?
I think I would take it back to the moment that my grandma had her stroke, and like I said no, and I think it was showing me that I actually carry the power. Like no one else carries it for me. And so I think like I can do what I want, and I don't have to be someone's puppet or like, and so I think that for me, and I hope that I continue to just trust that like you have the answer. Like I can't get it from anyone. I'm very close with my mom. My mom's not gonna like it's so funny. I feel like people from college will totally relate. It's like my mom like can tell me like, oh, I like that dress better, back then I used to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna wear that dress. But then like I'm kind of sad because I was like, no, but I really like the black dress that I really liked. Why didn't I freaking wear the black dress? So I think it's just being honest with what I want, and I think that I really feel like the more that I continue in that's just um, whatever's gonna be for you is that. What is it? Like, they can't find you if you're not like, the people looking for you can't find you if you're not yourself, and so I'm kinda like, ugh, like, that's kinda how it feels. So, wherever that leads.
So sort of tying back to this, like everything, and so what would you say, what would your message to the next generation of whether it be content creators, listeners, students, influencers, anyone who wants to get involved in media, radio, music, any of that? What would your message be to the next generation of creators?
Creating what you already kinda know is in you that wants to be out in the world, kinda listening to that. Um, I think that's the main one, but you like I said, it's like, "Say it again, you can't steer a parked car." So if, like, that's, like if that pressure of, like, "Oh my gosh, I gotta be as authentic as I possibly can," which is, like, what I or, like or, I don't know, or, like, something's not coming to you, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, this is how I felt with my song "Skinny." I was like, I'm not gonna have a my audition is gonna be my biggest thing. I'm not even gonna have anything else. And then I played Coal Miner's Daughter, and then that was another moment that lifted. So it's like don't get stuck on. It would probably what me and Makayla were talking about. Like don't be stagnant. Just go and your body will know if you're like I'm actually burnt. Like I need to stop. But if you're not and you're just kind of confused, it's just like take the opportunities. Go, 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 go. Take the opportunities. Yeah. So probably take opportunities, and if you feel like there's a message that you want to say in the world, say it. But if you don't really know, then you know, freaking get some life experience. Like college is a big, awesome life experience. For me, I kind of went to a similar thing. I took it, and it was the best decision in my life. It like shaped me as a human. So I think it's yeah, take those opportunities.
I do have a question following up on that. If you could collab with any artist in the world right this moment, who would you collab with?
I love Ed Sheeran. Like I feel like he's like my soul brother. I love him. Ed Sheeran. I'm like, I would love to open up for Ed Sheeran one day. I was like, do y'all think that's possible? And they're like, that's pretty big artist there, Amy. And I was like, okay, well, maybe Noah Kahan. I really love like that kind of singer songwriter kind of thing, but Ed Sheeran's my number one.
Was there anything that you would like to add, advice you'd like to share, a memory you hold dear, anything that we did not ask?
So funny. This random one just popped into my head when you said memory. whenever I was on my grandma's tour bus, she said, it's so funny. God doesn't give a plumber's tools if he doesn't use them. It was the most redneck thing I've ever heard in my life. God doesn't give a plumber tools for you not to use it. And, you know, if no one knows what that means, it's just kind of like you wouldn't have your gift if you weren't supposed to use it. Like if you have any kind of gift. Like I also love teaching. Like I love teaching. And I'm like, oh, I hope one day that God uses that gift or I hope that I use that gift that God gave me. And so it's kind of like I got to steward these gifts. And so I think it is if you have a gift, freaking use it because it's selfish for you to withhold it. You got to use your gifts. So I think using your gifts.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so fun.